Hi good people, Titus here for another Unreal Engine tutorial, and in this video I'll show you some basic tips and tricks that might make your workflows easier. Let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Alright, first one I like to do is under the edit menu, you can go into editor preferences, and then you can change the asset editor open location to be the main window. That way when you double click on an actual object to open it up, it opens in your main window rather than a separate window. Alright, moving around inside your editor is pretty easy. You can simply just either right click or left click. If you left click, you can drag forward and kind of move around just using the mouse. If you right click, you can use the WASD keys to move around the map. You can also hold the Alt key and then click around and kind of pan circular. Or if you hold the Alt key and right click, you can kind of zoom in kind of like that. The middle mouse button will also pan around, and if you scroll in or scroll out, you can also zoom as well. If you right click and press C, you can actually zoom in, and if you let go, it resets the view. If you right click and press Z, you can actually zoom out. If you're placing objects in your scene, you can simply highlight them and press the N key, and it will snap them to the actual floor. You can select objects in your scene and press H to hide them, or Control H to unhide them, and you can even do this with multiple selections. If you select an object in your scene, you can press Control B, and it will open the actual file location for the object. If you press Control E, it'll actually bring up the menu to edit it. So if it's a blueprint, it'll open the blueprint up. If it's a static mesh, it'll open the static mesh editor. You can press Control A to select everything in your scene, and you can press Escape to deselect everything in your scene. If you hold down Control and use the middle mouse button and you click in and drag a direction, you can actually go into the corresponding view. So if I drag the view up, I'll go to top view. If I drag it right, I'll go to the front view. If I drag it left, I'll go to the back view. And if I press Control and drag in a diagonal, I'll go back to perspective view. If you select your directional light in the outliner and then click into Pi and then press Control, Alt, and then L, you can bring out the actual rotation of your directional light. Everything in Unreal Engine is searchable, so if you click any menus, even if there isn't a search function, you can just start typing and you'll likely be able to run a search. You can select multiple nodes in the graph editor, and if you hold Shift, you can press A to align left, or you can press Shift D to align right, or you can actually press Shift and W to align top, or Shift S to align at the bottom. If you hold the Shift key, you can click on execution pins and it will actually join the pins together. If you want to delete a node but keep the execution pins connected, you can just select the node and press Shift and then delete, and it will actually keep the actual nodes connected in between them. You can press and hold Alt and then click on a line graph to actually get rid of it. And then if you have a line connected, you can actually hold the Control key, click and drag to pull it off and remove it to a different location. You can select the node and hit F9 to add a debug call to it. So when you play your map and you hit the actual blueprint, it'll bring you right to where you're executing. If you hit F11, it'll step through the code so you can see the actual flow of the pins. If you launch again and we hit that same debug line, you can actually come to the top or press Alt-Shift-F10 and it'll actually step through the simulation in the editor so you can see it in real time. You can actually select multiple nodes and add multiple debug lines just by hitting F9. Or if you need to clear out the nodes, you can press Control-Shift and then F9 and it'll remove your debug lines. You can move objects in your scene using the arrows on the transform gizmo, but another way to do it is you can actually hold the Control key, and then if you left click, it'll bring it in the X direction. If you right click, it'll bring it in the Y direction, and if you click both the left and right at the same time, it'll bring it in the Z direction. You can hold Alt and middle mouse click on an object to add a temporary transform. You can then use that to make quick ramps. A quick way to duplicate objects is if they're in your scene, you can simply hold the Alt key and click on one of the arrow directions, and it will duplicate in that direction. You can press and hold Control Alt, and then you can click and drag and do a marquee selection if you need to select multiple objects in your scene. Inside the content browser, you can click on the settings in your Docker and then check the box to show the engine content. And this gives you access to a number of useful game assets that you can filter out by type. But if you also run a search, this also gives you access to some of the Chaos Destruction components, including the FS Master Field, as well as the FS Anchor. But adding a filter also shows textures, and then some of these textures can be useful in material generation. Alright everyone, these are my quick tips for Unreal Engine. If you think I missed anything, please comment down below. But as always, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and see you on the next one.